And Tabby.
Hey girl, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
Brain fried, but present
Well,
for
that
episode what?
48.
Yeah, present and accounted for, which
Yeah.
counts.
Yes, you're here, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, what's going on with you over there at the farm? You guys survived a freaking tornado?
Yeah, we did. We kind of didn't even know we went through a tornado.
Yeah. Have you been to the hair salon since the tornado?
No, I haven't.
Well, so the owner of the hair salon that Tabby and I go to, it was on her street.
No,
So
really?
yeah, I went there yesterday. She said that she was working out and she was working out in her underwear and a sports bra only, barefoot, and started to hear some noises. And she called her dad, and her dad looked at the TV because her TV wasn't working and said, "There's a tornado in your area." And then the phone cut off. So she said she instantly just thought, "I need to put fucking shoes on." And then she heard the whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. No, she ran outside, I think, and then she heard it. And she saw like everything just kind of turning over, and under her carport, she said everything was like swirling because the wind was swirling. So she ran inside, and then she heard it, the whoosh, 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 and then it was gone.
Holy shit. So was there any damage? It didn't actually go down near her house?
Her house is fine, except for a couple trees. If her boyfriend was there, his car would have been totaled because she had a huge oak come down. But the other streets, like she said she drove the 4 blocks around her house are all closed down, but she took her white truck through those closed streets because it looks like a city official truck, and the houses were just shredded. So it was 1 block away from her. There's houses on her block that are completely gone. She said you can see the path, you can see where the trees were taken out. I mean, it's crazy.
Wow, that is really crazy. I mean, that's probably 10 miles from where I live. It's not far.
Yeah, not far at all, right? And that's the crazy thing about a tornado. It just...
You never know where it's going to go.
Yeah, it just happens. And she just kept saying shredded. The houses were shredded.
Yeah. I saw some pictures because it also hit North DeLand, where... You know where that Burger King is when you're going towards downtown?
Mm-hmm.
That little area right there, it went through there. Houses were destroyed. I mean, just wiped out.
Yeah.
So.
What's that main street there called?
Woodland.
Woodland. That's where she lives, over in that area.
Right. Oh, okay.
So that's what she told me, Woodland. I just couldn't remember the street. So, yeah, I mean, could you imagine? So she said afterwards, she's standing outside, and I said, you know, when the news comes or you see like fires, you always see this woman like standing in the background with a shower cap and a bathrobe, and you're like, bitch, you didn't have time to put on clothes. And I'm like, here's my hairstylist in her underwear and a bra and shoes.
Right.
And you know, people are looking at her, you know, if something would have happened where she had to run out of her house all of a sudden in her underwear and shoes, where you just look and you're like, well, what was she doing exactly?
Right. But you know what? I just have to say, she's got the body to rock the underwear and the shoes and the bra.
For sure.
Right? So it's not like some of us normal middle-aged women are running out.
No, I agree with that completely. So it's funny because you see these people when an emergency happens and you're like, you didn't have time to put on a t-shirt? But apparently you don't. She was smart enough to think, I at least need shoes on.
Right. But yeah, no, you don't have time to put clothes on. I mean, that's it. You know, you're screwed. You got to go no matter what's happening.
Right, right. So let me ask you, because this is the exact reason why Nate will not sleep naked, is because he believes that, you know, in a case of emergency, he needs to run out of the house. Now, I know people that sleep completely nude, but do you sleep in full pajamas? Do you ever sleep naked?
No, I don't sleep naked ever. I don't like the feeling. It feels weird. I don't want to like wake up and have a whole bunch of sheets like squished up my vagina. Like, I'm just like, no.
Right.
So I will wear a big baggy t-shirt and a pair of underwear, and then sometimes some jammy bottoms. But other than that, that's no.
So I don't mind sleeping naked, but what I mind more than anything is like my legs touching. I don't like my legs irritate one another. I think maybe because I don't shave my legs all the time. So I always have to at least have pants or shorts or something on.
Okay.
Just because it's not comfortable to me to sleep like that. Now I have like had sex and just gone to bed naked sometimes, but it's very rare. Of more like, I don't want to find where my pants are and it's dark and I'm just too tired to give a shit.
Gotcha.
But most of the time, I just don't like the feeling of my legs touching each other like that.
See, and I'm the opposite. So I don't mind my legs touching. If I'm wearing pants or whatever, they're not really loose. I hate that tight feeling and them bunching up and riding up my ass and my crotch.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, this is so fucking uncomfortable. I have to like rearrange everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand it. I just fucking can't stand it.
What about back in the olden days when they used to wear like those big long sleeping pajamas where it was like went all the way down to your wrist? It's a big long gown. Why are you raising your hand? Did you wear those?
Yes, I had to wear those.
Why?
I hated them. And I also had the ones that had the feet attached. So it was hot as shit. So I can tell you, I even still do this as an adult. If I get really hot, I will take my clothes off in the middle of the night and not remember and wake up like a half naked.
Right. Lorelai does that all the time. She'll wake up in just her underwear and she went to bed with pajamas on,
and
but wakes up. Yeah.
And then she's like, what the fuck happened?
Right. Now, see, I do that sometimes too. I don't like to be hot when I'm sleeping. So I like to, and most of the time I have a sports bra or something on. So I will start to take off sweatshirts, t-shirts. Even right now, before this podcast, I had a sweatshirt on. So normally I'm cold inside my house. But when I go to bed in the middle of the night, I start to sweat. So then I'll wake up with just a sports bra on.
Right.
Did your parents make you wear those big long pajamas? And
I hated them.
Oh God, yes. It's so sweaty.
It is so sweaty. And it's horrible. And then if you move anywhere, everything's all bunched up. And
yeah. So what you gonna say? Sorry.
I said I start to cut off the feet at least.
Right.
I was like, whoops, I don't know what happened.
Was there anything that, like, my dad would only and this is making me think about it because of back to school shopping. Was there anything that you weren't allowed to wear or your mom made you wear that you didn't want to wear? So like I'm asking you because you had a gay mom, right? And I'm being stereotypical because I was raised by a single father. Dad made us buy boy jeans because to him the fit was better and it was cheaper and we had flat asses anyways and girls' jeans just didn't fit right. And a lot of time girls' jeans were too tight or too this or too that.
Right.
So being raised by a male military man, he made us buy boy jeans for a long time.
So my mom didn't do anything like that, but there were things I was not allowed to have, like wasn't allowed to really have heels. I wasn't allowed to have mini skirts. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. There was a lot of those kind of restrictions, right? Anything to make me look older was out of the question.
How old were you when you were allowed to wear makeup?
Oh my God. I want to say almost 16.
Yeah, I think I was supposed to be 14, but I still did it all the time in middle school. And I think I started in 5th grade, where I just started to wear black eyeliner and then I would forget that I had it on.
And you get caught.
Well, yeah, at dinner, my dad would be like, why do you have makeup on? And then I would just play dumb. I don't have makeup on. I don't know where that came from. It's black fucking eyeliner. Give me a break.
Oh, and I also wasn't allowed to pluck my eyebrows and had a fucking unibrow. I was so mad.
I wish my dad was alive. I'd ask him. I feel like he would make fun of us and make us do it.
Well, I wish my mom had was like, okay, let's get a little, but she was like, no, because I wasn't allowed to shave. Let me tell you how I was able to get myself to allow to be shaved. Okay.
Okay.
So I went to the doctor and I don't remember, regular checkup. She walked out. My mother walked out of the room and I looked at the doctor and I said, look, I've got hair on my legs and I need to start shaving, but she won't let me do it. Can you help me out? Mm-hmm. So the doctor had this whole conversation with my mom about the appropriate age to start allowing your daughter to shave her legs. So I had to get a doctor to tell my mom that it was okay to shave. And so I'm like, okay, good, right? So all I wanted was a regular razor. That was it, right? Mm-hmm. Simple. You'd think she'd go out and get me a regular razor and some shaving cream. Nope. What did I get? I got this fancy ass electric shaver. And I'm like, the fuck am I supposed to do with it?
Right.
Because it doesn't really do a really good job. And she spent so much money on it. And she was, I guess maybe she was feeling proud. I don't know. But I was like, I just wanted a razor.
Just want to get this hair. So for my own curiosity, now I have a 10-year-old girl as of Wednesday.
Yeah.
This is funny because I just sent Jamie and Jen a text telling them I felt like a trashy mom because I let her go to school with Lee press-on nails today.
Oh.
So for her birthday, our neighbor asked if she could buy her these like fake acrylic nails or, Lee press-on nails with glue. And I said yes. And during quarantine, I did let Lorelai get these fucking coffin-shaped Lee. I'm just going to call them Lee press-on nails just because I'm old. But they weren't. They had glue on them. So she had these like coffin blue robin egg nails. And shoot, they were so long and we had just gotten the boat. And one day we're like looking for sunscreen and then there's a Ziploc bag full of Lorelai's 10 nails because she had gone on the boat and then they started to fall off. So then she was like, and just stuck them all in a bag, right?
Okay, that's badass.
Yeah, so now she's just walking around with her fucking fingernails and then putting them on, taking them off, putting them off. But what do I care? We're in quarantine. We're doing anything to make our kids happy. Like this was back in May.
Okay.
So then Erica does the right thing as a mom. She asks, am I allowed to buy your daughter these nails? And I said, absolutely. She'd love them. She bought the medium size instead of these big long ones. First day of school, Lorelai wants to wear them. And we're like, all right, let's slow it down a little bit. Let's find out what your school day looks like. Maybe it's not nail appropriate. Also, I was a little hesitant about letting her go out in public like that because and this is me admitting this to all of my friends that allow their daughters to wear fake nails. I am a judgy bitch, and I have judged all of you. All of you. I have a friend that I need to send a text message to. She doesn't even listen to this, but up until last night, I was like, I am a judgy fucking bitch about these nails because I think it looks trash. I don't know. But the nails were beautiful, right? They look good. The shape is good. The size is great, but my father would never have allowed that.
Nope.
It's now my daughter went to school today with these nails. I don't know. She looked beautiful and she loved them.
I mean, so do they look classy or do they look trashy? Let's be honest. Or is it kind of like toggling that line?
No, they don't look trashy. I think that I use that word because I'm stuck up and it's what my dad used, right? Like my dad didn't want me to wear those things. My dad the first time I paid for my own nails to be done, my dad was like, I'm sorry about your luck, but you need to take them off. You're 15 and we don't do that. Right. It's not appropriate in my house. So that stigma is still stuck with me. Just like you can't put pots and pans in the dishwasher. My sister and I still argue with that because that's what we were raised on, right?
Right.
They look adorable for a 10-year-old. There's just this part of me that's like,
ooh.
Ooh.
Is it because they're longer? then like had she just put nail polish on and like got a manicure and no extension on her nails, would it have been different?
I think that's it. I think it is it, because the first day of school she had gel polish on. I painted her nails. I've always painted her or had her taken her to a nail salon to get a mani-pedi before school. And quite honestly, that's a good point, right? If she wasn't a nail biter, she'd probably have long nails and be able to paint them just like the nails she was wearing today. So
right.
It's, I guess it's really not a bad thing. It's just in my fucking head.
Right. It's the fact that because she is 10 and most 10-year-olds have short nails because they don't take care of their nails. They're biting them, they're breaking, they're doing whatever. So you automatically assume younger girls are supposed to have shorter nails and adults are supposed to have longer nails. And that's like a symbolism of womanhood. And you're not quite ready to let her, you know what I mean? To let her have that symbolization.
Right. And there's this whole thing about age appropriate, right? Age appropriate.
Appropriate, yes.
But who determines that at this point? What might have been age appropriate for me at 10 is really based on my household and parents' decisions, right? Like what was age appropriate for you to shave your legs, bless you, might be different for me, or age appropriate for makeup is different. So who determines that?
The parents. And
that, well, society and judgy bitches like me.
Well, yes, that too. I mean, but we also, look, that judginess is also to protect our kids, okay? Right. We don't want our 10-year-old daughters walking out in fucking heels and mini skirts and their little tiny boobies that haven't quite developed out yet because, it makes them a target. And there's a lot of fucking sick people out there. So we're trying to preserve their pureness.
Right. And I agree with that, right? Because you look at teenage girls as they start to develop, or preteen girls, and you're like, fuck, slow down a little bit. Like, does she need to look so grown? And so as somebody that is constantly wearing makeup, obviously this isn't my natural hair color. I can't believe you haven't said anything about my fucking eyebrows today, because I
haven't seen them.
Look how close.
Wow.
It's stages, girl. They're going to lighten up. I'll have to send you the video of Ethan's reaction. He almost cried.
So, girl, because you weren't so close.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was so far away.
They're so massive.
They're so big. But they're even.
They're even, yep. They are. Oh, and speaking of eyebrows, my brow boost comes in today. I am so fucking excited.
Oh, you are? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. I was talking to the hairstylist about that yesterday too. So
yeah.
I mean, obviously, like I support hair color and makeup, and my nails are done and all of this. And I also believe that there's two parts, right? As a mom, I want her, and as a woman, I want her to love her body exactly the way it is. However, I'm walking around with not the right hair color, fake eyebrows on now, my nails done. I care about the way I look.
You had your boobies done.
Yeah. So, there's also, me being a hypocrite about that. Well, not so much of a hypocrite, because I do the things I want to do to make me feel good, and because I like it. I like my hair to be a little crazy. I like my nails to be a little flashy. Right. And so then I want to support that creativity in her too, right? Like that, because nails truly can be a source of your identity and your creativeness and your expression of who you are.
Right. And there's just a line. So because of her age, you can be creative up until a point. Because when your creativity now starts becoming sexualized, we have a problem. Because you're 10, you don't understand what's on the other side of that line. As you're not supposed to. And we don't want you on that other side until you are old enough. That's why everything is supposed to happen in small progression and steps, It's the nail now, but in a couple years it's the bra. It's the
she has a bra.
Okay.
First bra. Ethan is so uncomfortable.
I bet so. Ethan's going to be very uncomfortable.
And Nate said he, the other day when she went to change, he turned around and he said that was the first time he's done it. And, you know, to him, there goes this little girl all of a sudden where he has to turn his back. But she is in a little bra right now and she has to, where is she going? What size am I, Mama? It's a 34A. And she was like, 34, that seems big. And I was like, bitch, I'm a 30. Well, I didn't call her bitch, maybe.
Right.
And then I was like, I'm a 36. I was like, the world is between a 34, 36, 38. And then we were talking about cup sizes. And this is all things that, you know, a girl
has to learn.
Yeah, they don't know.
No, because 34 sounds big. Like 34 sounds old, right?
Right, yeah. And I like what you said about like connecting it to sexuality and sexualism, because she's not there yet. So for her, it's more about making her feel good and the things that she wants to dress her body up and her personality. And so I'm glad that you said that, because then I feel more innocence about it. I can't control what the rest of the world, and if boys, first of all, I don't think boys find nails attractive, but if she decided to start wearing crop tops and minis and all this other stuff, as long as she's doing it for herself, and especially for being somebody who's self-conscious about her body, I want to be able to do that and still balance the sluttiness too, right? Like, let's keep in mind that Mama is always tries to borderline classy, so let's try to do that as well.
Right. So, like, I had a friend, one of my mom's friends, who made a very good point. When I was younger and I wanted to wear a mini skirt. And of course, you know, my mom and me was like, no. But I grew up in Virginia like you did. She said, look, she wants to wear a mini skirt. Okay, but it has to be paired with a thick, dark pair of stockings. Right? Mm-hmm. And it's not a mini skirt like up to the cup of my ass. Right? You know what a mini skirt was in the 90s. It's now a regular fucking skirt. Mm-hmm. But it had to be paired with stockings. You didn't go bare-legged. So she's like, that's a compromise. She still gets to wear the skirt, but she's still staying classy. And she's going to draw less attention to herself, which is, at that age, it's the point. You need to not draw so much attention to yourself, because the attention is not what you're looking for. It's not the right kind of attention. You're going to be getting sexualized by the boys, and then the girls are going to start judging you for that shit. Mm-hmm.
And what I also don't want to do, though, and I feel like there's maybe that this was more towards the way that we were raised, is to have to cover up all the time, right? Like, Lorelai is very self-conscious about her body now. Mm-hmm. She has a stomach that is protruding, but she's still very long and lean everywhere else. But she feels fat because of her stomach. Mm-hmm. And so then our back to school fashion show was a shit show the other day. It ended in tears. It's just completely different when you had a boy this whole time.
Right.
And now a preteen girl that is so self-conscious, and she's pulling the shirts down and she's pulling this and doesn't like the way the leggings sit around her vagina. And it's a lot, but where I'm also trying to teach her how to dress for her body, right? Like, you don't have to cover up. You have long legs. Let's learn how to dress your body now, rather than my friends that are trying to figure it out in their 40s, right?
Right. Yes.
Let's do it now.
And I think the other thing that you have to teach her is that what you see in the magazines is not what it's going to look like on you, right? So I think that's part of the problem, because she sees these images on magazines and TV and goes, I want that skirt. I want that dress. And she has this image of what it should look like. And then when she puts it on herself, she's extremely disappointed, because she doesn't look like the other girl.
Right.
You know, and that's a hard thing to learn as a kid too.
Well, I think where we found a happy balance finally is she wants to wear leggings and Nate size t-shirts. and she looks even bigger, and she looks like she's hiding something that she doesn't have. And where we finally found success the other day was, you're never going to be a crop top wearing girl. You just can't at this point. You know, you're not going to feel comfortable. You really want to, but it's not going to happen, right? It's just not appropriate for your body right now. Just like the same way for me. I'm not a crop top kind of girl, but what works for me is to balance it out by wearing a shorter skirt, because I have such long legs that I can wear a baggier shirt and it still looks okay.
Exactly.
So that's what she did, and I was really happy for her. She really was able to pull it off yesterday, and she looked and felt great. And then today she went in with her little fucking nails. We'll see if she comes back with all 10 little digits.
Or if she comes home with a little baggie.
With a little baggie, right, where the teacher's like, we found Lorelai's nails in the bathroom. Yep. One nail in the bathroom, one nail here, one nail there.
You'll be like, she's not being COVID appropriate, Sabrina.
Right. So that being said, Lorelai is back to school too. She went to school yesterday. She was happy.
Was she?
Yeah, she's patrol. She had to get there a little bit earlier. The patrol's duties are changing a little more, so that there's no like contact before the patrols would open the doors and help kids to the class and hold their hands like the kindergartners. Right. Obviously, they're not doing that. She said some of it was a little weird. There's shields between every desk.
Right.
About 50% of the school did not come back. So that resulted in smaller classrooms. Great, right? Every parent wants that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Starting Tuesday next week, for a certain period every time, they'll be teaching outdoors. Wonderful.
Yeah.
We should have been doing this years ago, teaching kids to get outside the building and sitting on towels, and teachers being creative and teaching outside, and teaching out in the elements.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome. Great. Yeah. So the only bad thing she said was it was weird not to hug anybody.
Yeah, I'm sure that is weird.
Right.
And I wonder what recess was like. Like, were the kids allowed to play with each other, or like, because even playing ball, you could spread.
So they did have recess, and they were allowed to play. And when they're outside, they're allowed to take off their masks. They're just not allowed to hug and touch one another. But they can swing next to one another. In class, they did have to wear their mask. So she wore her mask most of the day yesterday. And then there are mask breaks when they take them outside and let them take them off and get some fresh air. I was under the understanding that once they were behind their shields on their desk, that they could take it off. I asked her how she felt about it. She said that it sucked at first, but if this is how she has to go to school, she's going to go to school.
Right.
So
and I think that's a little weird, though, if you've got a freaking the shield
divider,
around you got dividers, and then the kids are 6 feet apart, and it's smaller classes. Why are they still wearing the mask?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the reason really is they want the kids to stay in school. You know, they're not willing. And I asked them if they talked about Corona a lot. It's been almost exactly 6 months. 6 months since my daughter has seen her friends and teachers and all of that. She said that they didn't talk about it much. They just said, welcome back. Things are a little different, but we're still the same school. Now, they did threaten the kids and say, if you take off your mask when you're not supposed to and you're not wearing it, it's a level 3 punishment plus a day of suspension, which, you know, my question to them before was, how the hell are you going to control elementary kids to not wear their mask? Well, that's it. So I'm not mad at that. Just follow the directions then. If you've chosen to go to school, you know that there's a mask requirement.
Right.
Wear the mask all the time. If not, keep your happy ass at home. They're trying to keep all the kids in school. We're trying to get back to normal. Just follow the rules.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. She came home. She was good. She's not doing extended day as much as she wants to, just because there were a lot of parents that needed daycare. They need daycare now for their kids. They need to get back to work.
Right.
And I wasn't going to take up that spot since Nate and I are both working from home.
Right. Exactly.
So what about your boys, Mason, and did they go back? And do you have them?
So no, they are back with their mom, and they did go back to school. And we talked to Mason, and the most we got was, it was weird.
Yeah.
Well, how was it weird? It was just weird. Okay, nope, just weird. Did you have recess? Yep. Nothing. He's 13. I got nothing out of him.
Right,
it was weird. He didn't like it. So basically what it boils down to, he likes going to school to be able to go play with his friends and socialize. And, he really enjoys school, but because it is so weird and there's not a lot of interaction, he's not happy.
Right.
He's very, very unhappy about it. So, I mean, he's happy to be at school, but because it's weird, he's like, it's just weird.
Yeah.
He's very disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
He misses the old ways.
Right. Yeah, I think we all do. So does that mean your household is pretty much back to normal then? I mean, if you don't have to worry about homeschooling kids, you guys must be pretty much back to normal, right?
Pretty much, yes, we are back to normal. I mean, as normal can be, of course. Dion's back to working like normal and everything, but still having a hard time getting to clients.
Right.
Taking them out, that part's still a little funky, but we're working through it. So, but other than that, it's normal.
Yeah, good. Yeah. I feel like this is a first step for us to go back to normal. I mean, we still have 3 people at home full time, but one of us is gone at this point, and that gives us a break during the day from Lorelai. Not that she takes up much of our time, but still, it's starting to get
too much.
Yeah, and now we've got one person out during the day, so that's great. If we can get the next person out, that's great. And then I'm just stuck with Nate till the first of the year.
Right? So, well, our house isn't quite normal. So let me tell you what we did. So Pam had found this some kind of crazy ass sale where they had all kinds of shit, right? I was like, oh boy, here we go, another goat rodeo. So we go there, and I found Christmas trees, and I've been needing Christmas trees. So I found a 9-foot, some brand name, pre-lit Christmas tree and a 7-foot pre-lit Christmas tree. They both ranged around $400 to $500, right? When I looked for them on Lowe's or whatever. I got both of them for $100.
I might need to get one.
I bought 2 Christmas trees for $100, and
that's a great deal.
Big ass motherfucking trees. I can't move them. I can't even put them together. They're so big. So I told Dion, because right now they're in the Florida room, I'm like, I'm not having you drag that shit downstairs for in a month or 2 for you to drag it all the way back up. I'm like, this year has been fucking crazy enough as it is. We're going to set this shit up in August, just the trees, and then you can take it down at the end of the next year.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't care. This year has been so fucking crazy. What the hell do I care that I've got 2 fucking Christmas trees up?
Yeah, seriously, it does not matter at this point. And you're right, it's just around the corner. When I set my next hair appointment the other day, it's October 1st.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's full on fall. We've gone through 2 seasons now.
I know. I mean, I can't believe it. Like, it's...
Listen, for all of 2020, for what it's been, Christmas trees in August, it's the least weird thing, right?
Right.
So... I think we should, if unless you have any other current events, I'd like to switch to the DNC that's been playing.
Oh, okay.
Just because it's been going on the last couple days,
right.
I did not watch it, but I did just want to share a couple highlights from it, just in case anybody else watched it, and so we're equally supporting each side. I will say that Charlemagne the God, I listened to his podcast this morning, and he said it was extremely boring, that he didn't watch it. It was very boring. And when asked why, he said, too many old white guys.
It's a fucking shit show.
Which to me, that seemed very disappointing, not in his comment, but the fact that here the Democratic Party puts on a black vice president nominee, and then they ask a bunch of old white guys to talk.
Like Bill Clinton?
Yeah, like the same old mouthpieces. So now I did see that he had like somebody, and I don't know, and this isn't because I don't know black people, but I just don't know Democratic or politicians all that well. But there was like somebody, Booker, the mayor from Atlanta, she's a black female, she spoke. So they did have some black people, but just obviously not enough for a black man like Charlemagne, who might not be, could get his vote and have a very large influence on, like, you picked Kamala Harris for a reason.
Kamala,
my bad. I apologize, Kamala. And then put on a bunch of white people again.
Right, because look, the Democratic Party doesn't give a shit about anybody, no matter what they say. I mean, if they were really caring about the black vote, don't you think they would have had more black people out there and talking about their issues? But they don't. They think they can just go ahead and say, I'm a white person, vote for me because I told you to, and that's going to work. Unfortunately, the community is waking up and going, we've been voting for you for the last 50 fucking years and you haven't done anything.
Really? Because I feel like the community, I got this feeling this week that Trump is in more trouble than he expected to be.
In which way?
For this election. And if he does not win, that he will throw a giant fit and say that these mail-in things were the reason, and there'll be no accountability from his point. But I feel like, based on some of the speeches and highlights I read last night, they might have a chance to win this.
The Democrats.
They might.
Even after Charlemagne the God said their DNC sucked.
Yeah, I mean, they said it was boring, but I can't imagine a Republican National Convention being exciting either. Were we going to have a bunch of minorities and a better demographic? Probably not. We got the same fucking old white people too.
I mean,
who?
Our last, the primaries in 2016, when Trump ran, you had Ben Carson, you had the president of IBM, who was a female on there. You had lots of diversity.
Yeah, but it's still, I mean, like I said, I could go through the list and pick out 5+ black people that they had at the DNC that spoke as well, that are senators and governors and carry the big titles as well. They put a stuttering ass kid up there and let him speak. They put a stuttering 13-year-old that moved people to tears, which, to me, a great idea, right? Because Donald Trump would probably make fun of that kid and be like, say it again, Junior. And so, he went on. But it's true. He'd probably do it because I'd probably say it. So there's parts of his speech or the speeches that were made that I was like, huh. And then I got a text yesterday from the Republican Party saying, hey, will you give us a heads up? Do you plan on voting for Trump? So because I haven't voted yet, they are trying to figure out if our votes have been swayed.
Right.
So and that makes me think that they're concerned. When I got that text, I was like, oh, well, somebody's a little worried. And I'm not going to answer your question. I'm not going to tell you that I'm voting for you.
Right. And you know what? And on both sides, I hate those fucking text messages. I hate them.
I know. I blocked it.
I block them. I delete them. I'm not going to tell you who I'm voting for because that's my decision. Right. But I understand why they're doing it, because there are lots of people out there that are going to say, yes, I am voting for you. And that's how they run their campaign, both sides.
I hope that one day, and I know we've said this over and over again, but one day, one election, we'll see a true diverse group of people, just diversity throughout, where right now, and maybe there's not enough black politicians to make it, more than 40%, 30% participation. So maybe that's where the problem is, right? Maybe we need more diversity in order to produce a more diverse show. You can't produce something if they don't exist, right?
Right. And
on both sides.
And here's the other thing. Let's be really honest. Politicians on most levels have some kind of substantial amount of money before they get into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you don't see very many, like, where's the Asians and the Mexicans and the Indians and everybody else that we have in this country that, where are those politicians?
Right. And I think that's the problem. They're not
you know why? Indians and Asians are fucking smart. They're like, we're gonna be fucking doctors. Y'all go ahead and fight over this white bullshit. Y'all go ahead and fight. We're gonna make money.
Right. We're gonna sit over here. We're gonna live our lives happily, not stressed out, and make a shit ton of money.
And make money. Teach our kids a proper education and make fucking money. Y'all keep fighting about this.
Exactly.
So maybe they're the true winners. They're the smart ones. They're like, stop fighting for us. We don't want to be on this show. We don't want to be a participant because we're making money.
Right. We are living our American dream. And our American dream does not mean that we're going out here and fighting the same stupid bullshit problems over and over and over again, like all these politicians are doing.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So I pulled this just because, I mean, it's no secret. Tabby and I are both Republicans. I'm probably voting for Donald Trump, but I'm not committed to it at the moment. But I did point out, I pulled up the hit or misses from the final night of the DNC just so that we were being equal supporters, since nobody will come on here and talk for the DNC themselves. So unless somebody would like to join us, come right ahead.
Absolutely. I'll
play mediator. Yeah, I'll play mediator.
Oh, you're going to have to.
So they did say that Joe Biden's speech was a hit. And the reason is because everybody was expecting it to be such a shit show that he actually was able to pull off a full speech that was coherent. And because of that, they give him a win.
Really? That's the bar that we're setting for our president?
Yes.
Oh my God, we're in so much fucking trouble.
Confidence, strength, and readiness.
So being competent is showing readiness?
Right. So it says, well, the start of the speech was somewhat rocky. Biden not only settled into the speech, but he did something I did not think he could do. He was charismatic, forceful, emotional, and powerful. So that's great. And quite honestly, whatever that last speech was, I'll probably go onto YouTube and watch it tonight or later today just to see what he had to say. It said that he spoke a lot to the middle of the country, middle working Americans. That makes sense. They talked a lot about, that this isn't a vote against Trump. It's a vote for America. Again, great spin on it. Somebody named Tammy Duckworth, who I don't know who she is, but I like the idea of this. This is the camera panning up from the Illinois senator's wheelchair to her artificial limb, and then to her wounded Iraq vet standing to speak with pretty much damn moving all on its own. So even just that pan out of having a vet there supporting you, a war veteran, somebody that's an amputee, especially in this whole Black Lives Matter and watching people kneel during the national anthem, to show that you have the military on your side of some sort, when typically, the Republicans have a lot of the military support. I thought that was a good power. And keep in mind, people, that this is all for show, right? Like, yeah. This is not, it should not be emotionally touching to you. These people are playing.
They're playing.
They pick certain people to deliver a speech to certain people. Like, this is strategic.
Right. They're fucking with your emotions.
Right. Just like that stuttering kid, there's a reason.
Okay. So I have to kind of interrupt you since you mentioned kid. Do you remember when Hillary Clinton was running for president and she brought that 10-year-old girl who was an illegal in this country? Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, so when she was running, she literally brought this 10-year-old girl. She was Mexican. She was not here legally. And she was talking about how amazing she is and she should have the right to be here and da-da-da-da and all of that stuff, right? And so the family allowed her to go on there, assuming that they were going to give her free access. She got deported. under Obama's administration.
Poor thing.
They fucking deported her. They used her as a prop for votes and then fucking kicked her out of the country.
That's terrible.
It is. It's fucking horrible.
That's terrible. Well, hopefully the poor stuttering kid makes it. Hopefully he was he was legal.
Right.
It did say, the music was listed as a hit. I guess the band formerly known as the Dixie Chicks, because the word Dixie is inappropriate in their opinion, but the word chicks isn't. Okay. Did the national anthem. I don't care about that. I'm kind of over the Dixie Chicks. I supported them when they spoke poorly about Trump, and I thought what happened to them was a bad deal. But give it a fucking rest already, ladies.
I'm sorry, because now you're okay with... I'm sorry, because you've turned your back on your own gender at this point.
But yeah, it's just, it's enough. And your new song sucks. So I'm not, right. You're supposed to be a musician. Sing about it. And sing about it with some quality. This blacklight or half gaslighting song, it sucked. Misses, it says Michael Bloomberg was a miss. That the simple question is, why was he even given a spot to speak? Was it because he spent so much fucking money on his campaign that they were like, all right, come up here and talk? John Mitchum, I don't know who he is, but they said he spoke a lot of poetry about history and it was a waste of time. Apparently there were balloons and the balloons were a miss as well.
How do you miss balloons? How do you fuck up balloons?
I don't know.
Okay, but here's my question. Did anybody talk about policies or like what was going to be done and changes and anything that has anything to relate to politics?
So I do have some quotes from, and they all did. I have some quotes from their speech. And I think I'd rather just stick with Joe Biden's speech since he's the one really that should be talking about policies and changes. All these other people wouldn't be involved in any of that as much as the president. So let's see. This is what he said. This is a life-changing election. This will determine what America is going to look like for a long, long time. Character's on the ballot. Compassion is on the ballot. Decency, science, democracy, they're all on the ballot. Who we are as a nation, what we stand for, and most importantly, who we want to be, that's all on the ballot. I think that's brilliant. I think it's brilliant because it's going directly against Trump and his personality without saying that. It's saying that somebody who, and not that Donald Trump isn't a great leader. To me, he has been a great leader. He's got a terrible fucking personality and character. Yep. And that's what people don't like. You can't, it's very hard for people to look beyond his big fat fucking mouth and see just the facts of the things he does. One of Nate's friends said if we would take away his mouth, he'd probably go down as one of the best presidents in history, but we'll never allow him to do that because his character fucking sucks. So brilliant to me on the DNC side to say, this is about character. Who do we want to be? Well, who I don't want to be is some fucking guy calling women pigs and stuff on TV. So then I like the way that they're thinking about going about this.
Okay. It's a good strategy.
Yeah, it's good. And again, that's all this is strategy because it's all bullshit anyways. It says the current president has cloaked America in the darkness for much too long. Too much anger, too much fear, too much diversion. Here and now, I give you my word. If you entrust me with this presidency, I will draw on the best of us, not the worst. And make no mistake, united we can and will overcome this season of darkness in America. And while I'll be a Democratic candidate, I will be an American president. I'll work hard for those who didn't support me and as hard for them as I did for those who did vote for me. In regards to the coronavirus, he said, we need to get our economy back on track. We will never get our kids safely back in school if we never have our lives back until we deal with this virus. No miracle is coming. The president still does not have a plan. Well, I do. I think that this statement's all fucking wrong. My kid just went back to school yesterday.
Right.
And what I see on his ads, on Biden's ads, is the president is going too quickly on starting the economy, and the president only cares about the economy, and the president only cares about money. Well, That's because in order for me to live, this world has to be moving. My kid has to be going to school. The cafeteria worker has to be working. The bus driver has to be working. Yes. So that statement right there, I was like, I've seen all your stupid ads, sir. And you're going against Trump for trying to restart the economy. And now you're saying that you're going to do that? Well, when? In January? We'll all be broke by then and poor.
And at that point, we will also be fully dependent upon the government, which AKA is socialism.
Right. Well, that's the next statement. We'll have a national mandate to wear masks. A national mandate. I'm not doing that. And we don't need that. That's not the way it was purposely set up, county by county. And, and I've been to some counties where they're not doing it. And it's because their populations are so small. Who are we to tell them what to do when I come from a county with 1 million people in it? It makes sense for my county to have it. It doesn't make sense for smaller counties to do it. And it doesn't make sense for our president to tell us that we all have to do it.
Right, because that's not a presidency, that's a dictatorship.
Right. They talk about foreign policies. I'm not going to read the quote, but basically it's saying that he's going to go after Russia, that Trump is scared of Putin, and that's why he won't go after him. I disagree. I feel like Donald Trump isn't scared of fucking anybody. And if Putin really pissed him off, that he'd have no problem
nuking him.
Right. On racism.
Oh, and Putin was just poisoned yesterday.
I saw that. I know. So exciting. It's such an 80s, 90s Russian movie. I love it.
It's like, what was that movie? I feel like Air Force One, because it was done on a plane.
I love Air Force One. That's a great movie with Harrison Ford. Great movie.
Wait, or was that Nicolas Cage?
Nope. No, Nicolas Cage is also Con Air. Also a great movie.
Okay. Yep.
Also a great movie. Also the year that the song that was played by Trisha Yearwood in that song was also released by LeAnn Rimes that year. Yep. And one won a Grammy and one won a Country Music Award with the same fucking song.
That's pretty badass, right?
Yeah. So I only have 2 more quotes from him. On racism, we will be the generation that finally wipes out the stain of racism from our national character. I believe we're up to it. I believe we're ready. That says nothing. That's just a statement. I believe that that's a statement we can all make, right? Hoping that this generation, not yours, Biden, because your generation is about to fucking die.
Right, and let's be really honest.
Your generation started all this shit.
No shit, because that man over there, I've read articles from the 70s where he was in support of segregation and said he didn't want his children going to school with blacks because it would be like a fucking jungle.
Yeah. So that statement was weak. It provides no how, when, where, and if I was a black citizen in the state, I would want more. I need more info and that's what Charlemagne says. What are you going to do for me? Right. What are you going to do for me and my neighbor and my wife and my children? This statement is blank and bullshit. This is the conclusion. This is our moment. This is our mission. In our history, we'll be able to say that the end of this chapter of America's darkness began here tonight as love, hope, and light. Join in the battle for the soul of this nation. And this is a battle we will win, and we'll do it together, I promise. I feel like Obama might have written that for him. He's really trying to pull back into that hope and courage and
change. And we're so happy, and we're gonna make this. We're gonna make America great again without actually fucking saying those words.
Right. So the conclusion statement too, kind of weak. A little boring. I don't know.
Kind of.
I do feel like, just based on the text I had yesterday, that the Republicans are a little worried. I saw Trump's statements about the mail-in voting and how he's already trying to vote against it. And I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. Who knows? I don't.
Right. So, I'm not quite sure how I feel about the mail-in voting. Look, we can wait in line at Walmart. We can go in and vote like we're supposed to. That's kind of my opinion. Unless you have something that prevents you physically, mentally from going and doing it, you can do your absentee voting, because that is a thing. You can do absentee voting. You can request it, and there's nothing illegal about it.
Right.
So, and then I've been hearing a lot of stuff on social media that Trump is trying to dismantle the post office. Well, one, he can't dismantle the post office. It's privately owned, even though it has federal grants behind it, right? And he's actually trying to save it. He's talked about putting like $10 million or more into the post office so it doesn't go out of business.
So that's interesting because I didn't know that the post office was privately owned.
Right. Yeah.
So, and we were just talking about this the other day. I thought it was a federally owned.
It's part. Okay. So it's part privately, and it gets a lot of federal funding.
I don't understand how they are bankrupt.
And that's the point, because and I read somewhere that basically if everybody was to do a mail-in ballot, it would take like 2 months to count all the votes. The post office is not equipped to get it to where it needs to go because they don't have the resources. They're not efficient. Their operation is shit, right?
Right.
And a lot of people don't use the mail as often anymore. Most people would rather go to FedEx or UPS to ship something than the post office.
Because FedEx and UPS has been they have kept up with the times. They understand that us mailing things is a thing of the past. Most of us don't even mail Christmas packages anymore. We're directly having Amazon take care of it, right? So where FedEx and UPS contacted Amazon and they've got contracts with Amazon and they're hustling Amazon shit out.
Right.
The post office is doing that, but guess what? If it gets to the post office, it takes another fucking week for me to get it.
Right, and then we get pissed off.
Yeah, get your system right. You're no longer carrying mail on horses and wagons and shit. Why does it take so long?
Right, and I read that the president of the UPS is post office. They're actually trying to make their process more efficient.
They need to, and that this is on. I feel like from the post office side, first of all, the federal government, if we're involved in it at all, we've done a bad fucking job of letting them run this thing into the ground, right? This is something that we need. We need the post office. There's certain mail that needs to come and be delivered.
Right.
The government should have been involved in this way before they needed to file bankruptcy.
Agreed.
I mean, this is a national program of some sort, was my understanding. The government has done a bad job for years.
Right.
And the fact that we're giving them money and then they're still going bankrupt, fuck off. Lower the prices of your packages.
Right. But they can't. That's the problem, because everything costs so much money. They would be bankrupt.
But then how is FedEx and UPS doing it?
Because their operation is more efficient. They've cut out different steps and processes to make it quicker and more efficient, thus saving money. Thus, that savings trickles down to the consumer, which means it's cheaper, which means more people are coming in, and then they're going to make more money.
So can the post office follow that same program?
If they knew what it was, yes, they can.
Because think of that. I mean, the post office is at least guaranteed. UPS and FedEx does not deliver our Mint magazines, our trash magazines, our daily bills, our JEA bills, our utility bills. The post office is receiving guaranteed funds from certain businesses, and you still haven't. The post office looks exactly the fucking same. When you walk in there, it looks the same fucking people work there. It might be Joe Biden's mama. The old same fucking people work there. The same old fucking pins. The same old pin taped to something with something. Where are your electric? Why can't I push buttons and print out a label, and maybe you don't have to pay all that payroll there? Maybe. I mean, it's insane. The post office has not improved.
And that's the problem, right? So it hasn't improved, and I don't think they need to go in and figure it out, right? There's a lot of people that make a fucking huge amount of money as consultants to come in and fucking change things up, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. We shouldn't give money without a consultant because they need it. They need to push their software, the way that they run their business into 2020.
Exactly.
And become more efficient.
Right. And that's what I used to do in the corporate world, was operational efficiencies. I would go into different departments in a company, and I would go and I would observe their streamline, their operation, sit down with the people, figure out what they were doing. And because I had an outside perspective, I would go, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we try this? Let's tweak this way, and then do testing and analysis. And then I could figure out that by doing something different would save time, it would save you money, it would save you product, or all of these different things.
Right.
And that's what they need to do. I mean,
I agree.
There's huge certifications you have to take to become one of these people.
Yeah. I agree. It's a shit show. I have an important question to ask you, unless you have anything else to say about the DNC or post office.
I have one more thing say about the DNC.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I saw it on a post, and I watched the videos, and there was part of the DNC, and I don't think it was like the main part, it was like a small other little area, but 2 individuals recited the Pledge of Allegiance and omitted the words "under God."
Ugh.
And I am so livid.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? This is absolutely ridiculous. You don't have to believe in God to be in our country, right? And to have your freedoms. But if you want to represent our country in any facet, especially in our government, you fucking say the shit like it's supposed to be said.
Yeah, I agree with that. You say it the way it was written.
And if you don't want to say it, then don't join politics.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't care if you're an atheist or what you believe in, but you say the Pledge of Allegiance, the national anthem, whatever it might be, the way it was written.
Correct.
I will say I did not go to any right-sided news sites to read the reviews on the DNC on purpose, because I didn't want to come here from a Republican side and give. I'm sure if I go to Fox News, there's different quotes and things that were pulled. I didn't want to do that to our listeners, because I think they know how we feel about it. I wanted to provide the positive side of it. I haven't read Fox News's review of it, but I'm sure it's going to be a whole lot more critical than I was.
Right. And I didn't watch the DNC, and I really didn't look at a lot of sites that just popped up, and I was like, do what? What? Say, huh?
Right.
And then there was some other woman who took an oath, and I don't remember where it was, and it has nothing to do with the DNC. She took an oath, and because she's so against the Bible, she didn't use a Bible. She used the book Dr. Seuss.
Well, then that doesn't even count.
Then you're not in office.
Yeah, it's like pinky promising without hooking pinkies.
Right.
That doesn't count.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
People are just, I feel like they're just losing their mind.
They are. They're pushing. This is the thing. And this is what they talk about all the time on Brilliant Idiots and Flagrant, is that you push us so far left with all this weird fucking shit, and then the right is going so far right because they're clinging on to their fucking flags and their guns, that we're so far apart because you have somebody giving an oath on a fucking Dr. Seuss book.
Right.
I can't. Come on now. That's what I have my 3-year-old do. You promise not to shoot your pants again? Okay, promise on this Dr. Seuss book.
Right. And that's kind of how it feels like.
Right.
And I guess so, Dion had this, conversation. You've got the, the extremes. And then you've got the liberal Democrats over here, and they're going crazy, and some of them aren't, right? And then on the other side, you got some that are far extreme, and then some of them aren't, right? Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, because the Republicans are so fed up, the way that they're coming across sometimes, not that their message is wrong, but the way in which they're delivering it is becoming offensive to the delicate flowers on the other side. So then they run further away. And I'm going, that's not the way to do it. I'm like, you gotta step back a minute. You can get your point across without being so aggressive, okay? And so angry. And then that is how you're going to convince people to get back to the middle where there's some fucking common sense.
Right.
I had a friend who is a very big liberal, right? All the way up until the point that they started talking about getting rid of Homeland Security and defunding the police. And now this friend is having such a hard time because she does not agree with it. She does not believe in it. She thinks it's absolutely wrong. But because her entire world, her family, her friends, her support networks, right, are all on this other side. And if you don't agree fully, you get dismissed.
Right.
You know, you get kicked out of this group because you don't believe 100% blindly. And she's having such a hard time debating. Like, it's an internal debate. She's like, do I stand up what I feel for on this side of it, or do I keep my support network? Because part of, you know, she agrees with both sides on some things, and she feels like a vote for Trump is good for economics but bad for gays. It's either this or this. A vote for this is this, and a vote for is that. It's like the opposite. Where's the common ground, right?
Right.
And which is why I've always said our founding fathers never expected us to be a two-party system. They said that would be the fall of our nation, because you're supposed to have a third large legitimate party to even it out. Because now there's so much stigma. If you're a Democrat or a Republican, it doesn't matter. You can't even talk about the issues. It's automatically a brr. You guys are already fighting, you know? And and I hate that. Like, we need to sit down and we need to talk.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I just I don't know. We'll see. How much more time do we have? It's August 21st. August.
Let me tell you what I just did. You said how much time we have left.
Oh, you're looking at the clock.
I was like, an hour.
Yeah. We got about 3 more months until the election.
Right.
So we'll that's how much more time we have until then. And then we'll see the outcry afterwards of a recount, all of that. I think all of that's going to happen this year. If those mail-ins are allowed, I think it's definitely going to happen like that. Because I do agree. I think people are fine to go out and vote. You can go out and vote, and the same way you can stand in line for toilet paper, right? So why not? Yeah.
If you can find it.
Yeah. No. Well, if anybody needs that, commercial grade toilet paper, I still got a whole fucking box of it. Let me know. It's all yours. All right. I have a couple questions for you that we proposed a couple weekends ago. I was sitting around talking with some single lady girlfriends and talking about the fact that they're in a stage in their life where they want to be in a relationship.
Okay.
So they asked me, or she asked me, how long should I go before I have sex with this new guy I'm dating? And I said, and she said, if I want to build a relationship, I am now looking for a relationship. My answer was 8 dates or 30 days.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, that sounds like a good answer. We should ask other people. Yeah, she was like, but I need other answers too. Because she said she hasn't had sex in 2 months. And she was like, that's a long time.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. So it's not. We asked a bunch of other women that weekend, and we got, now all of these women are in relationships over 10 years. So that they are all in committed relationships and marriages, and successful, happily married. As happy as we can all be,
Right.
That most of them said the same, 30 days.
Okay.
Now, my sister-in-law said 6 fucking months, and
oh,
we told her she was insane.
Yeah, did she wait 6 fucking months?
No, well, that was the other thing we all said too, is that in the relationships we're in now, none of us did what we're saying, right? Like, I didn't wait 30 days to have sex with Nate. And that's what my best friend asked me. She said, but you didn't do that. And I said, yeah, but we are, even though the 5 of us are here, we're the exception. Most men aren't it. If they're looking for sex and you're sucking dick and having sex date 1, the respect is gone. They've built nothing to know you at that point. When Nate and I had slept together at our, I think it was 2nd date, by then we had spent 7 days on the phone with each other for hours on the way to work, on the way home. It wasn't this online thing where you match up, you meet for dinner, and then you fuck.
Yeah, no, that's a bad idea.
Right, and it does work out for some people, right? There are exceptions, which is, it's that movie, He's Just Not Into You. There are exceptions to the rule, but I personally think, as a married woman now, if I went into the single world, if I wanted a true relationship, I would make the man wait to have sex with me 30 or more days.
Right. I think
so?
That, yes. So, look, it took Dion and me 3 weeks.
Okay.
And let me say, that was the longest I ever waited in my fucking life. And I ended up marrying the guy. So there's got to be something to be said about it, right?
Yeah. And hey, let me point out really fast, 2 episodes ago, I said I waited 9 months to sleep with Chris. I did not wait 9 months. It was 90 days, not 9 months. It was 3 months. I've never waited 9 months to sleep with anybody. When I told my best friend that, and I told her that I cried, she said, shut the fuck up. She was like, you cried? That's such bullshit. I've never cried in my life. So she wasn't as moved by my story as some of you might have been, but
yeah.
Anyways, that's my correction. It was not 9 months. It was 90 days. So you waited 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And so, married.
And I ended up marrying him. Now, look, I'll be straight up. We had talked on the phone before our first date. And what ended up happening was, we had our first date. We went out. We had a great time. This lady came up to us and said, oh, you guys make such a great couple, blah, 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 all this crap, right? I've already told all this story. But that first night, we fooled around. We didn't have sex.
Mm-hmm.
And then he left. And then after he left, I went, well, fuck that one up. I won't ever hear from him again.
Right.
And I knew, I was like, yep, that's it. It's over. And then I was shocked as hell to find out he still came back. And we've talked about this. I was like, look, had we actually had sex on the first date, I was like, would you have stuck around? Or would you have just been like, I got it and moved on? And he's like, no. He's like, I would have stayed around. He's like, I wasn't looking, his intentions weren't looking for a hookup. Mm-hmm. He was still really looking for a relationship. But if a hookup happened in the process, great.
Right.
Right. But he wasn't going to hold that against me. And again, that's the exception to the male rule.
Right. To find a man too that is looking for a relationship at that time.
Right. But mind you, he's also 12 years older than me.
Right.
So he was not a guy in his 30s looking to plant his dick in every vagina he can find.
Right. And in this case, this gentleman that we're talking about is older. He's 49 because she has kind of opened up to the fact that maybe she's better off dating an older man that is looking for more of a relationship, is more mature, that isn't a liar, that isn't a cheater, that isn't just all these things that they seem to be in their 30s, which is a little weird. Maybe I think 30 is almost like that, the breaking point for a man, right? If they can make it through that point and be a family man, but as a single 30-year-old man, they're terrible. I think they're worse than 20-year-old single men, right? Because 30-year-old single men are lying. They're saying, oh, I want this. I want a relationship. but they're still game fucking. Where a 20-year-old is just game fucking, and you know that that's what they're doing.
You know, straight up.
Yeah, but in their 30s, they start fucking lying, and they become dirtbags and all this other stuff.
And you know, but those men also remain dirtbags. Like, they don't change. So when you find like a decent guy in his 30s, fucking hold on to that, right? Like, you know, but again, I think the issue is a woman in her 30s is really looking to settle down, have a family, because most of the time her career is pretty well established, right? But men in their 30s are still developing their careers in order to provide for a family. They're still trying to get that last bit of urge out. And so most men in that age range are not prepared or mature enough, not all of them, but most of them are not prepared to be a family man, to be a husband, to be a father, and accept all those responsibilities, right? Which is why you have a lot of dirtbags, which is why I've noticed that a lot of relationships work better when the man is older than the woman. Right. Because we mature so much faster that we can't deal with someone mostly on our age range. Now, yes, it works for, you know, some people, and that you have those examples, but mostly there's got to be an age difference between the male and the female.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Let me ask you this then. This was another question. Is oral sex considered sex in that 30 days? If we're saying you need to wait 30 days before you have sex with them, is oral sex sex?
Well, my technical answer would be yes, but I didn't follow that technical answer because day one, my twat was getting munched on. So now I didn't reciprocate that because I'm very particular about oral. Like, I don't just give it to anybody.
No, like, I'm not about that either. Like,
I can be fucking you and like having a hookup, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna suck your dick.
Right. Yeah, me neither. Like, I might have slept with, I'm unclear on the number. It's either 13 or 14, but only had 3 or 4 dicks in my mouth. Like, I'm not about that. Like, I'm not. And I've been married twice, and then in one serious other relationship. So it was like those 3 men, and there might have been one other, but that was it. Like, that's just not a thing for me. Yeah, I'm not sucking dick randomly.
No.
So my answer was yes, and most of our answers were yes, except for the younger people, my younger nieces. But now I'm saying my younger niece is only 37, so she's not that young, but she said that she made her husband wait a year before they had sex, but they were having oral sex. And then we were like, well, that's still the same. You're still getting off. But then Jamie said, and I was like, you can finger bang and you can jerk them off, but I'm not going to let somebody go down on me or, and so then she was like, but you could still get off being finger banged or jerked off. So what's the difference between orally or not?
Okay, wait. Let me back this up for a second. Your 37-year-old niece waited a year to have intercourse, but did everything else.
They had oral sex, yes, because they don't consider that sex.
Okay, was this for like religious reasons?
Nope. Just her own personal, you know.
Then why?
Just her own personal belief that she was going to make him wait a year before they had sex. And again, they've been married for 10 years now, and it worked for them, right? And I think together even longer than that. So it worked for them, but she doesn't consider oral sex sex.
Well, but it is. It is a function of sex, right? It's part of it. That's why the word sex is in it.
Well, that's what I said. I said if the word sex is in it, it's sex. Oral sex is sex. Right. Finger banging, fingering isn't called finger sex.
Yeah, but okay, but wait, because I'm going to throw you for a loop on this. When lesbians have sex, they fucking finger bang. There's no dick unless you buy it. Okay? Right. So I don't consider, like, if I've gone out and I've finger banged somebody, I had sex with her.
Well, see that, because that was my argument too about oral sex. Well, that's the way lesbians have sex. So if you're letting somebody munch on your carpet, you're having sex.
Yes. You
like
are.
To me, like that first 30 days. Oh God, nope. That first 30 days, I'm not having any relations of any sort with anybody because I am a lady.
Oh, you're so full of shit.
My son just walked by.
Oh, okay. You're so fucking full of shit.
He's gone. So.
Okay. I love this. You know what? This is so fucking crazy. Like, your male son walks by and now all of a sudden you have to be prim and proper, but he leaves and you're like, I'm back to being a dirty whore.
That's right. Even listen, there's shit I say on here that thank goodness him or my husband don't listen, because they have no idea what I say about them or what I say. They'd be probably shut this shit down in a second. So to me, heavy petting and fingering and jerking off would that's what, second, third base?
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'd feel okay with that up until we had sex. 30 days.
Okay.
If I had to be single again one day, that's what I think. But you're right, the lesbian thing changes it, right? Because that's
yeah,
it's weird. And this was my next question, which I thought was interesting that you had already spoke to Dion about, is do you think a man would answer differently? And do you think that they would answer differently in give us two answers? One, in front of other people, and then two, the private conversation like you had with Dion. In public, would Dion give the same, or would he give the male answer of, we're going to be fucking that night, or, it's on like Donkey Kong. That's probably what my husband would say, since he says terrible one-liners. It's on like Donkey Kong, where if I asked him privately, he'd probably be like, I don't know, I'm a little different now.
No, Dion, Dion. He doesn't sugarcoat shit. He doesn't sugarcoat shit behind closed doors. It is what it is. What he would say to me behind closed doors, exactly what he would say to somebody else, right? So no, he would say that he would have no judgment of sleeping with someone on the first date. He's like, I would not have judged you that you were a whore and not want to actually develop a relationship with you because of that, So, but for me, after we had done that and he still came around, I backed off, backed off sexually. I was like, all right. I was like, well, let's go out. Okay, let's do this. Yep, let's go out here. I'm like, I'm not ready. And he's like, right. Okay. And he was okay with that, And then, and like I said, 3 weeks later, that was it. I was like, I can't wait any longer.
Right. Right. Well, and I wonder if we asked a bunch of men if what they think about a woman, not in their 20s, but as 40-year-old men, single men, what they think about a woman that sleeps on the first date. Is there a lack of respect? The same way, maybe, again, when people are sport fucking in their 20s, when they're like, this is one and done? Or are we at such an age now and a maturity level where if you want to have sex on your first date or your second date and the chemistry is there, we're grown fucks and we can do that with having a mutual respect? Or are men still looking at women saying, oh, she was a total slut bag?
I think it's the maturity level. So you take 40-year-old men. Let's assume we're talking about 40-year-old men who are successful in their life and their careers, and they're no longer dumb dirtbags that spend all their days at the bar, right? Okay. Right. So let's talk about the caliber of a man that we're talking about, right? So that man, I believe, is going to go and say, if a woman wants to sleep on the first date, they're going to be fine with it because they're going to go, she's older, she knows what she wants, and she's getting what she wants.
Right.
Right? Where younger men, if a girl shows that aggression or that assertiveness, they're intimidated by it because they feel like they still need to be the aggressor and the assertive one in this area because they're still really learning how to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so that's why they're like, oh, she was a slut, because that makes him feel better. But, right. And because we also still have this stereotype that younger girls, you're still supposed to be pure, right? Mm-hmm. You're still supposed to wait. You're still supposed to be this thing to fit into this image. And once you've hit a certain threshold in your womanhood, all bets are off.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you hit a certain level and you're like, I don't care if I'm not wearing a bra. I don't care if I go out without any makeup or whatever. You fucking like me, you like me. And if you don't, fuck off. Right? And believe it or not, that is fucking attractive to men because they're like, oh, yeah.
You know what my best friend told me she does? Typically, she does not wear makeup. And typically, she's not dressed up. She's just not that girl. She is, as similar as we are, she's an opposite of me when it comes to that. And she said on her first dates, she doesn't wear makeup. And typically, she doesn't get dressed up and she doesn't put in her contacts because that is who she is on a daily basis. And that she feels like if she gets dressed up, that they'll expect her to always look like that. And she wants to set the expectations from the beginning of that's just not the kind of girl I am. And I was like, that's pretty fucking impressive. I don't know many women that would go on a first date and not put on some lip gloss and blush or something where she's just like, this is me. This is who I am. I hope we match. If not, I'm out.
Right. And that's actually a really good thing because some men feel like women lie when they put on this shit ton of makeup, right? Like you walk in and you look like this one person, and then when you wake up the next morning and all the makeup's off, you're someone entirely different.
Yeah, coyote ugly, yeah.
They're like, just be real, just be who you are.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I was pretty impressed when she said that because I wouldn't do that. But I always wear makeup anyhow, so this is who I am. Okay, well that was interesting. I'm interested to know because if it was a 49-year-old man, we were trying to think, all right, well, how does a 49-year-old CEO of a large, vineyard, what is his expectations of a woman? Is his expectations to sleep with her in 30 days? Is his expectation so mature and grown? And I guess without me just going out and asking people, which I'm not above because I've already asked 20 fucking women the same question, that maybe I'm going to start asking men.
You should ask men.
And then I'll report back and let you know. And I'm going to ask them one-on-one. So my friends, if I ask your husband how long it'll take them to sleep with a woman, don't think that I'm proposing to them. This is for scientific research only.
I love that. Okay. I believe the men are going to answer, these particular men are going to go, when she's ready, we're ready.
That's such a 2020 fucking answer.
No, but it's true. No, look. If the woman wants to sleep on the first date, he's not going to turn it down. If she wants to wait 4 months and he really likes her, he's going to wait.
I think that's true too. I think that's look at Chris, right? Like Boner waited. He was a Navy man that was used to having sex and I wasn't comfortable doing it. And he waited. And that was one of Jamie's biggest concerns as well. What if they lose interest in me because I'm not having sex? And I said, well, that is the reason not to do it.
Exactly.
Right? And I was like, and that makes me sad when she said that on the beach and I stopped her in front of everybody. And I said, that makes me want to cry. I love you and I don't have sex with you. I think you're fucking great. And I don't have sex with you. And so will somebody else and many other people.
Right. Exactly. Because if the only reason they're there is for sex, it won't last. They will eventually leave you.
Right.
So since we're on this topic, I have to talk about this.
Okay.
So I have we're just going to call her a friend.
Okay.
Okay. That is very well versed in the sexual world.
Okay.
So she's been very active most of her life. Okay. And both men and women. So I get a call and I'm talking to her and she's like, you got to sit down. And I'm like,
Ooh.
okay. And I'm like, why?
Did you see my whole face light up? I'm so fucked. I love gossip. Go.
Oh my God.
I'm so in.
Okay.
I'm it's ridiculous. I'm in. All right.
Okay.
Go.
But I'm trying not to get myself in trouble either.
Yeah, no,
right?
don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So she sits down and I'm like, all right, I'm sitting down. And then she tells me, she goes, well, I'm dating a guy.
Okay.
And I'm like, you're not pregnant, are you? And she's like, no. I went, okay. We can handle whatever's going to come next, right?
Right.
So she's like, all right. So I'm dating this guy. I'm dating him for a while. I'm like, all right. And she goes, we're not having sex. I'm like, okay. Well, it's been a couple months. And she's like, well, she goes, I'm ready to settle down and to get married and to have babies. Okay. She's a little bit younger than me. Sounds good. No big deal. She goes, well, but here's the kicker. I went, okay. He's a pastor.
Okay.
You got to okay, there's nothing wrong with him being a pastor, but you got to understand her past.
Okay.
Been with lots of women, been with lots of men, very wild. And now she's dating a pastor. Okay. And I'll tell you the rest off of air because this is so fucking bad. So I'm like, okay, all right. So you're dating a pastor. That's really great. And we're talking about it. And she goes, yep. And we're waiting for marriage.
Okay.
And I went, oh, okay. And I'm like, well, how do you feel about this? Because you're a fucking horn dog.
Right.
And she's like, I'm really liking this. Like, she likes the whole actually having a relationship to get to know someone, right?
It's such a connection, right? There's such a connection.
It is a huge connection. And I'm like, well, good. I'm happy for you. And because this guy is still a virgin.
Okay.
So he is very serious about waiting for marriage. He is a bit younger than her, but he is waiting to marriage before he has sex. He's waiting for marriage before they move in together.
So he's never been married before.
Nope. Never had sex.
And he's a virgin.
And he's a virgin. So I asked her, I said, well, how do you feel about that part? Like, are you concerned that there may not be enough compatibility sexually, like when the time does come? And she goes, well, no, we've done some other things and they've everything but, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, so you kind of know. And I'm like, and then I was like, that's pretty like badass, right? And then I was thinking, I was like, she gets to train them exactly how she wants them.
Yeah, right. They get to learn each other. And
right.
Yeah.
So it was very shocking to hear all this, considering her past and her background and family, like
And how long have they been together now?
Like 2 or 3 months.
So, I mean, that's, 90 days without having sex and to wait until marriage. I mean, they're not engaged, right? So that's
no, they're not engaged.
There's no hope for sex anytime in 2020.
No,
at
all. Definitely not. No. Not engaged. So it's going to be interesting to see how it kind of plays out, right? Because the other thing is, like, he doesn't want to live with her until after marriage either.
Okay.
So there's no time to figure out courts and all of that kind of shit, right? Like a lot of people do. And I was talking to Dan, and he goes, yeah, but he goes, that's the way it used to be. And marriage just fucking worked. Mm-hmm. Doing it the other way, we have a really high divorce rate.
Right.
So maybe there's something to it.
Yeah, I think there is. The reason that Nate and I have such a great sex life is because I think we know each other, right? And we know, and it's fun. And sometimes it's funny, and sometimes it's super hot, and sometimes it's just sex because we both need it and both want it, and it's time to get it done, and let's get it done.
Right.
But sometimes it's because we know each other so well that it is so intimate and enjoyable. So I understand, and that's why I feel like given a second chance, or if God forbid something happened to my family or my husband, is that I would want to wait.
Right. Oh shit! I was about to say something. Communication. They have really great communication.
Yeah. So. I think there's something to it. Now, I mean, hopefully I'm never in the position to prove myself wrong, but I do think that, especially once you've been in a marriage that is successful and you've been able to be with somebody as long, 16 years in our case without infidelity, and 20, 30, 40 years for the people that we were talking to in our family without infidelity, and that are happily married, that truly enjoy each other, that it's because they know each other so well. And if you're not giving yourself time to truly just get to know each other, because then you learn the kind of touch they like. You learn I don't know. I think I'm pro waiting.
I
don't
think
know
I
about
would
marriage though, but
right. Like if I had to start over, I think especially after an extremely long time of being married and being with someone, right? And like not as easy, because marriage isn't easy, but once you get to a certain point, certain things are easy, right? But then when you got to start over and you're lonely, you got to work through that loneliness and not just jump in because you want someone there because you're lonely.
Right. Well, see, I think there's a couple different stages, right? I think everybody that gets divorced, they go through their hoe days right after, which, I mean, my numbers fucking jumped, right? I mean, I've been married most of my life, so to have 13 or 14 partners, a lot of it came from the hoe days in between. Yeah,
bam, bam, right? Bam, 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 right back to one another.
You have your own needs. It had nothing to do about those men. It was my own needs that I was cheated on, and I was gonna fucking get mine. Right. They were going to fill something in me, literally, that I needed from them. That I think that's okay. And then when you get to the stage where you're like, okay, that was fun, but now I need a relationship, I think you have to change the sex part.
Yes.
Because sex, it's in the beginning, is just sex.
Right. And there's no meaning attached to it. And if you're attaching meaning to sex initially in the beginning without creating a real relationship, you're going to get fucking burned every single time.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I am going to make it a point to ask a bunch of men.
All right.
And report back my findings. I'm going to say.
I want you to text Dion and see what he says.
I'll call him, because I feel like if I call him, he'll really explain out his train of thought. Same thing with me. Like, I'll call and ask.
All right.
And provide back my my findings for any of our single listeners, so we can be in the mindset, and they'll all be ages in mid-30s to 40s, 50s.
There you go.
Are the people that I know. I don't know any young kids. Well, my colleagues, but that might get in HR, so I'm not doing that.
Yeah, let's not do that.
So, all right. Anything else you want to talk about?
Let's see. What else do I have on this list? Did you read that article I sent you about men are urged to limit alcohol to 1 drink per day?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. What did you think?
What the fucking hell? So, why do we have committees? Apparently a federal committee that does research on drinking. We all know drinking's fucking bad for you. We all know it.
Yeah. Like, that's fun. Yeah.
Why are we wasting this fucking money?
That was my thought behind it too. Why can't we just say, please just don't drink?
Or understand the consequences if you do.
Yeah, I don't know many people that limit themselves to 1 drink a night. So to tell people you're okay drinking 1 drink a night, that's not, let's be realistic. Tell people day drinking every weekend, not a good idea, but you can do it once a month. Because that's more how people drink. I don't know many people that are just drinking one.
Well, I guess maybe if you're drinking wine every night.
Maybe, yeah.
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 So.
But that's probably why I'm an alcoholic too, is because I'm not one to open a bottle of wine and not finish it. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And remember we had that whole conversation about how it's so acceptable to take wine to all these events and, and you can indulge in wine anytime you want and it's okay, And they were talking about how there was an 8% increase in alcohol drinks during the pandemic.
100%, yeah.
So now this is what I thought was funny. So now men are allowed to have 1 drink per day, which matches the women level, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if they got the men's level wrong, don't you think they probably got the women's level wrong? Because we can't process alcohol as quickly as men can. And this was what I thought was fucking hilarious. A line in the article said, the shift reflects scientists' evolving thinking on moderate drinking. Thinking, that's it. That's what we're going to base on a bunch of smart people thinking about it. I could have told you fucking alcohol is bad for you. I don't have a PhD.
Well, that's science for you, right? I mean, that's kind of like this whole fucking COVID thing. Well, this gets you sick. Oh, nope, we were wrong. Oh, this gets you sick. Nope, sorry about that. We were wrong. Oh, studies show that this does it. Oh, sorry, we were wrong. New studies show. Whatever.
Right. And did you know that there is it said the recommendation part of a wider effect to revise the U.S. government dietary guidelines for American, and it's updated every 5 years. Did you know we have a government guideline for our diet? Have you ever seen it? Have you ever heard of it? Well, you're fucking paying for it.
Of course we are, yeah. That and the post office.
And it intends to influence what we eat and drink, and they shape everything from school lunches to food manufacturer plans.
Well, do they have a fucking Instagram page? Because that influences what people eat and what they exercise and how it's influencers on fucking Instagram, not the government.
Right. And this is the fucking kicker out of the entire fucking thing. Alcohol-related studies, which they base all this shit off of, are often based on self-reports, which are biased. Because nobody fucking really says how much they're actually really drinking.
Right.
So we're paying the government to create committees and have scientists talk about the effects of alcohol when their data is actually coming from us.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, especially because, I mean, I know anytime I've ever filled out a doctor's report where it says, are you a drinker? How many times do you drink per week? I always only put 3 to 4.
Right.
I mean, I was never truthful about it.
No, nobody's ever truthful about it because then you got to have a whole nother fucking conversation you don't want to have.
Right, yeah. A self-study is about the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Especially when it comes to drinking. People aren't honest about that.
No, they're not. They're not honest about any of their bad habits.
No, not at all. Now, what about the article you sent me on Wuhan, which I've seen pictures all over Instagram. I guess in Wuhan, they had a huge pool party.
Thousands and thousands of people for a fucking concert. No masks. I mean.
I'm so jealous.
I'm pissed off.
Well, apparently they went through it before us and are outside of the pandemic. Now, I read in the in a article that there's still some restrictions, but the defense for the party was you just can't keep holding people back, which is what we've all been screaming here, right? Like, you can't keep holding us back. We have to be allowed to get together. We want to be shoulder to shoulder with people. We are craving this, our mental health needs it, which is what the article that I read on Wuhan was saying that they did for these people, is that mental health they need it. Now they are all still required. They get a temperature check coming in and out of their residence, of their home, of their apartment complexes. They do mandatory welcome to China temperature checks. You have to have screening software or this app on your phone before you get onto public transportations and trains to show that you haven't had it or some bullshit like that. They're still not accepting international flights in Wuhan. Their gyms, libraries, and museums are still at 50% capacity. Their movie theaters are 30%. Their bars and clubs are actually still closed, which I was surprised about. And that their schools are still closed except for seniors. Seniors were allowed back into school, and then the other grades are opening in September. So if they're ahead of us, which it makes sense, right? If they were the start of all of this,
right?
It makes sense that they are progressing,
right?
And
but then,
because they credit themselves for their national 3-month quarantine. For 3 months, they nationally locked everybody down, which we didn't do.
Okay, but if they still have all of these other restrictions, not all the kids can go to school, not everything's at full capacity, then why would you fucking allow everybody to literally be in a cesspool where everything can get transferred through the fucking water? I mean, that's the most worst place ever to have a fucking concert.
But can the virus be transferred through the water?
I can only imagine bacteria can transfer through that water.
Yeah, but I don't know if COVID has been found to be transferable through water.
Well, they talk about touching stuff. You can touch them.
That's what I'm saying. Like now, even the touch thing they've said is not even true. So you can't even fucking believe them. I think the biggest point is that China followed that 90-day mandate where they literally quarantined people for 90 days. We made it 30 days before we all of a sudden started having fucking riots and throwing up about our civil rights. So which option would we like to take? And our government locking us down for 90 days in our homes?
Yeah, no.
And then be allowed to have a giant pool party in 6 months? Or do we keep along the same path we are and then look at China and be mad at? I mean, I don't know which option I would have rather had. This option sucks too.
Right.
I'm so jealous. When I saw that picture, I was jealous. I've seen it all week on Instagram, people posting stories. I would love to be shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of strangers right now listening to music in a pool.
I hear you.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, but you also have to remember we have a lot more other freedoms than they do too.
Well, exactly. Like the cause and effect is the cause. They live in a dictatorship.
Yep.
And we're forced for 90 days, and that's how they feed their people, right? Like, all right, be our prisoner for 90 days and we'll give you a giant pool party. That's what they do.
Right.
So it's like, and it also to me is like falsified. At first, I didn't even believe it was. I believe that China isn't against posing pictures of this big giant, look at us, we're back to normal, because we did the right thing. So there's a part of me that was like, this shit probably didn't even happen. They probably put all these people in a pool, took some pictures, and said, get back to your fucking houses.
Right.
Especially when I found out that the whole city is still not even opened. You'd allow bars and nightclubs to be closed, but then have a pool party concert?
Doesn't sound right.
Right. So then I was like, well, maybe this shit isn't even real. Maybe we're getting all worked up
over nothing.
Because China's fucking duped us again. Like, oh, look at us. We follow the rules. We followed our rules, and our country's back to normal. So then you have us Americans going, what the fuck, guys? Why can't we be like China?
Yeah, no, don't ever say that.
But that's what I've seen on Facebook is, you know, what the fuck? Why can they do this? And these articles about the fact that they followed the mandate and they followed this government, just like the government mask rule, right? Like, well, because their government mandated at a national, they're allowed to do it. So it's almost trying to brainwash us into, maybe
we should have
that's
a
why I don't buy it.
dictatorship.
Yeah, there's a part of me that I don't buy it. I don't know if I don't trust
almost
them.
wonder if it's a setup.
See,
it's almost a setup to make us want to have some type of socialism.
Told you so. See, that's what I'm thinking.
I didn't even connect those dots when you were until you just said that. But like now it could be a total fucking setup. So Americans are going to be like, well, I want to be like China. Well, China's communism, guys.
Yeah, well, and somebody's saying, well, their government mandated a quarantine for 90 days, and now they're allowed to be side by side. Well, shit, if that's all that's required, I'm willing to give them 90 days of my life to be. So you have people start thinking like, that doesn't sound so bad, right?
Right.
I don't trust the Chinese. I don't. And I also, there's a part of me that thinks that they're willing to throw that party as a moral and mental health side, realizing that some of those fuckers are going to now die, right? Because they know that it's probably not safe. If their city is still shut down and they're having these parties, that some of it's like, all right, let's do something to calm the masses.
Right.
And they'll be happy, but guess what? Some of them are going to die.
Yeah.
And China doesn't care.
No, China never fucking cares.
But it looks good in a picture because their lives are moving on.
And let's be really honest. We talked about how China controls all the information that comes in and out.
Yeah.
So the government fucking approved that article to get leaked.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Fucking dirty bastards.
Yeah. So I don't trust it.
No, neither do I.
And I again, I'm jealous. I wish we could be there. And I'm looking forward to the day that we're there. I'm looking forward to the day that we are all able to be side by side complaining because somebody spilled a beer on my brand new shoes. I can't wait. Until
we get back to our regular normal.
Yeah. Yep. 2021, that's going to be the best year ever.
Isn't it?
Oh
my gosh. It has to be.
Yeah.
This year's been crazy.
It has, but we're all making it through it. Men with one less beer, women, trying to hold on to their virtues and virginity. At least I'm trying to make you ladies respectable. Come on now. No, I'm kidding.
Right? Well, because I'm not being respectable. I'm, all fucking day long. Well, not really, but.
All right. Anything else?
No, girl. I think we're all set.
All right. Good. You want to say our goodbyes?
Of course. As guys, if you have any questions or comments or concerns, give us a shout out at notasafespacepodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Bye, guys.
Bye. All right.
Wait.